Thank you for joining us. And before we get started with today's video, if you guys like what you're seeing and hearing from the Locked On Senators podcast, go ahead and hit like, smash the subscribe button so you can be the first to know about Sens content. Now, we're going to be doing a ton of these prospect profiles, so if you agree this is someone the Sens should look at or steer clear, leave your comment below so we can hear from you. Now, we got 64 of these, so let's get into it.
All right, coming in at number 43 on our 2022 Locked On Senators NHL Draft rankings with an average of 40.4, right shot defenseman from the North Bay Battalion. It's Ty Nelson.
And Ross, this is the player you alluded that we had boots on the ground to watch him. We got to see him in the playoff series up against the Ottawa 67s. And I'll say it right now, I'm a big Ty Nelson guy. Like I thought I was pretty impressed with what I saw from him. He's a rookie defenseman in the OHL. In the playoffs, in 13 games, he had 10 assists. The Battalion were just swept by the Hamilton Bulldogs in the conference finals, so his playoffs is over. Although you got to give stick taps for the Battalion. They knocking off the 67s, then the Kingston Frontenacs. They were Ottawa Senators prospect killers in their run to the conference finals, unfortunately.
And they got swept by Hamilton. Hamilton hasn't lost a game in the playoffs yet.
Yeah. And Chandler Romeo is not with Hamilton anymore. He got traded to the Sarnia Sting. So that's too bad that one Sens prospect couldn't knock off the North Bay Battalion. But I digress. In 66 games, he had 9 goals, 42 assists. He had the most assists by a rookie in the OHL. That's good for 51 points. He's a right shot defenseman. And Ross, I'll let you pull up the graphic and read off the dimensions since you've got the NHL Central Scouting dimensions.
Well, he's a lot thicker than the other little defensemen
That's what I wanted to highlight.
We've had on 196 pounds and still only standing 5'10". And again, this was a guy who missed all of his development year, which would have been his first year in the OHL. And he was the first overall pick. We've talked about a few guys who were top 10 picks in that OHL draft in 2020. He was the first overall pick out of the Toronto Junior Canadians. And he's a first-round talent in the eyes of Craig Button, who has him at 23rd overall. Scott Wheeler has him at 29th. Chris Peters at 33. Bob McKenzie at 34. So you think like, okay, there's the range we're working in there, right? 23 to 34? Nuh-uh. Elite Prospects has him all the way down at 83. And I want to mix it up. I'll let you hit the stats afterwards, but I want to talk about why Elite Prospects has him so low first, because again, I was just watching on YouTube. They've got their scouting meeting with all their great minds and all that. One guy hates us though. The guy who said Jake Sanderson was an awful pick, but he said like 3 words during the whole meeting and then left halfway through. So you know what? We'll leave it at that there. But with Ty Nelson, what they said was instead of getting better throughout the season, it was the opposite. Like I'm looking at his game log here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull it right up because to me, this is actually pretty wild here. This going from bottom to top. This is the start of his season, Pilsy, in the OHL. 2 assists, then 1, then 2. Like this guy had 6 multi-point games out of his first 10 in the OHL, and that's how you make an impact coming in right off the bat. But the numbers weren't quite there at the end of the season. If you scroll up here, there's a lot more zeros. Still a few good games. I'm not saying that he completely fell off the map. However, look at this stretch here from the end of December all the way through. You're only seeing 3 multi-point games. And not that that's everything. Good little stretch here, though. And maybe streakiness would be better rather than getting worse throughout the year. He did, slow down. Not that the team got shut out in 2 of the 4 games against Hamilton. So you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. But for what he brings, which I think at the next level is going to be more of an offensive-minded guy, the Elite Prospects team thought that he lacked creativity and awareness coming out of his own zone, sometimes fumbling around on the breakout. So that's why they have him that low. But clearly, he's a noteworthy prospect because we mentioned everyone else has him in the end of the first round, early second round range.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fair point, Ross. And I don't know this. This is just speculation or me trying to come up with reasons why that happened. My first instinct when you're explaining that is this is an OHL rookie defenseman, a first overall pick in the OHL selection draft. So when he's starting in a new league, the coaches are just like, hey, we know you've got the offensive ability. Just run loose. Like, get points, take chances. Let's see what you can do. Okay, he starts off hot. He's getting points. Okay, we know you can do that. Let's dial things back a little bit here. How about we start focusing on the defensive side of your game? How about instead of pinching 3 out of 4 times, you let the forwards take care of that and you make sure you're staying back for an odd man rush the other way if the puck gets turned over? How about instead of taking a shot from the point every time you get the puck, why not try to cycle it and we'll try to get some more ozone time here? Just things like that I think halfway through a season, a coach will look at a top rookie defenseman and be like, we know you got the points. That's great. But now we got to start working on other parts of your game. And when you do that, you're going to bring down the offensive production just naturally. So that would kind of be my rebuttal to that. I don't know if that's true. Again, that's just me speculating and trying to think of why there would be such a shift in your numbers like that. But that's something that I would maybe look into. And it would be interesting to get a chance to talk to the North Bay Battalion coach to see if he would say the same thing.
Yeah, I'd be super interested in hearing that as well. When we're looking at just the production, though, for the season, I mean, this guy put up points, right? He's playing on a good team, sure,
Yep.
and you can always say that, but I mean, he's put up points every single year going back to his under 14 team, and that's a big reason why this guy was drafted in the first overall in the OHL draft. 51 points in 66 games, plus 24, 39 penalty minutes. Now 9 goals during the regular season, none during the playoffs, still had 10 assists in 13 games. So when you're looking at what different guys are going to bring throughout, I'm just looking at Scott Wheeler, who had him 29th. His write-up said he's always been a draw for his offensive skill, but he's an athletic kid who's heavy over his skates, grown nearly 2 inches, and there's some risk there as well, because he needs to learn to simplify. And maybe that is kind of what Elite Prospects is alluding to about lacking awareness, but knowing that he's always had the skill to just get by guys. So I think simplifying is going to be a big thing for him. And I'll let you continue there, but I'll just say that Scott Wheeler finishes up by saying his shot's a weapon, not afraid to use it. He's always eager to jump up into the rush, lead transitions, steps pressure with ease. And while Wheeler wouldn't say he's fast, his stride is compact and balances, which allows him to kind of spin off of pressure and get away from forecheckers.
Ross, I want to focus on the one point you said, his shot is a weapon. Now, this is the meathead hockey fan in me, and I'm fully willing to admit that. But there's a highlight of him ripping a puck bar down, and the puck splits in 2.
Stop.
When do you ever see that? Like across hockey leagues around the world, when do you see a shot so hard that it splits the puck in 2? Like that's so cool. And I know that analytics people are probably like, wow, yawn. Like, what was his Corsi on that play? Yeah.
But expected puck splits per season.
Yeah, where's the stat on that? It's just cool to see that. So I thought that was awesome. And that just ties into the fact that, yes, he has an elite shot. And 24 of his 51 points were on the power play. This guy is meant to quarterback a power play. Kyle Watson from Dauber Prospect said he checks all the boxes of a power play anchor type. And when you have a right shot defenseman that's able to handle a power play like he is, and I love that, sure, he's only 5'10", but when you're nearly 200 pounds, it's going to be hard to outmuscle this guy for loose pucks. It's going to be hard to strip the puck away from him. He's going to be better defending in front of his own net, boxing guys out. Like, there's just so much that I like about this player that I can understand where Elite Prospects is going with, but I think that's sometimes elite prospects find something wrong with the player and they're like, we have to put a million red flags over this one thing. And everyone's going to look at all the other rankings and say, wow, they're so limited thinking. We're the big brain thinkers. We're going to have them all the way at 84 because of this one thing we found. And that's fine. And they do great work and we always appreciate it. But sometimes I find they lean so heavily on mistakes or things they like that they try to be so different than everyone else. And it kind of like all the way down at 84 that's where they were, when everyone else has him either a late, like end of the first round or start of the second round. So I tend to agree with the other grouping of rankings there. And Ross, I've got Ty Nelson at 4.5 stars.
Whoa,
that's my highest rating yet. And
yes, it is,
just because I think he brings such a different element than other right-hand shot defensemen in the prospect pipeline right now. JBD, nowhere near similar to what Ty Nelson is. Lassie Thompson, a little bit. Like, we love the Tom Bomb and we thought he was going to be a power play guy. He's kind of turned into a better defender rather than an offensive guy, I would say, Lassie, or at least more of an even out guy. Whereas Ty Nelson is going to be a guy that you can have in your bottom four, even strength pairs, but you can have quarterback a top power play unit and you can feel comfortable about that. And I think that's so much value that even if the Senators decide he's not going to find a place in this system, he has amazing trade value because a lot of teams want that kind of player.
Now, I would just say maybe lacks a little bit of the dynamicism, and maybe that puts him into Eric Brandstrom territory. But if you're looking at the second round rather than middle of the first round, maybe that is the type of guy who you'd want in that. So I got 3 stars. Again, I'm not banging the table for him, but I'm glad that you are. Alfie's banging the table for him.
I'm with Alfie on that one. Yeah,
absolutely. Alfie, you got to stop doing that. Hey, get out of here. All right, Alfie's all fired up. Everyone loves a good Alfie appearance every now and again. Oh, he brought me the ball. Okay, good. Now he's not squeezing it anymore. Good stuff. All right, so that's Ty Nelson, who I've got at 3 stars from the North Bay Battalion.